it wasn't until we had launched like 2 different bags or 3 different bags that all of a sudden it was like, okay, we're more of a travel brand now. And we started kind of like leaning into that. We were getting feedback from our customers. The number one word people use is quality when they describe Nomatic products. So it's like, all right, we're a quality premium brand for travel. That kind of just started to get defined over time. Let's make the best products we possibly can. And I think we were more meticulous than most people are about our products. We go through like 10, 20 different prototypes until we were like, it's ready. If it wasn't ready, we would just throw it out and be like, it's not good enough yet. Let's start over. We weren't making products to try to just grow revenue as fast as possible. It was like, no, let's make the best backpack we possibly can.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Unstoppable Marketer podcast. With me, as always, is Mark Goldhart, my wonderful co-host, business partner. How are you,
What's up, sir? I'm doing good.
You're
Doing good. Doing good.
doing good. Welcome back. You've been traveling.
Yeah, we've been traveling. I've been traveling. Glad to be home for at least a good couple weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No trips ahead of you.
Well, some camping, but
Yeah.
that's not like travel to me.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Same time zone, you know,
Couple nights.
couple
It's
nights
just-
rather than like
yeah.
a week.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited about the podcast today.
Yeah, me too.
We've got a guest on that,
A local legend.
yeah, as some would say.
Yeah.
What's funny is I've like been talking to him for like, I feel like a year and a half now in the making.
Solid 2 years.
Just like back and forth, like, hey, and it's always been like very passive aggressive by me. Like he'll like comment something on LinkedIn and then I will like comment on his comment like, hey, when are you going to come on our podcast? It's like very rarely like a text message like, hey, do you want to do this? So I'm excited to have him on. So I want to welcome Jon Richards, the co-founder and chief product officer of Nomatic. How are you, Jon?
I'm doing good.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, sorry it took so long to make this happen. But
You know what? It makes for a better introduction when people take longer versus,
Gotta play hard to get.
Yeah, when you play hard to get and have a little mystery, it's going to make the podcast a little better.
we're setting expectations too high already. Yeah.
That's what we do best is
Yeah.
we set the expectations high. So welcome. Jon's local here in Utah. Tell us a little bit about Nomatic. How long have you guys been around for and what do you guys do?
So Nomatic has been around for 11 years now. We make the most functional travel gear ever for people who live life on the move. So life on the move for us is defined as someone who's trying to become the best version of themselves. Mm-hmm. And these days, like you think business professional and you think of a guy in a tie and a white shirt and, suit or something. For us, like a business professional is someone who's just hustling and building, like could be a podcast, could be software, could be whatever, right? So we support those people for commuting to work, traveling on planes, and also we make creator bags as well. So like photography bags for cameras and stuff like that. And so we just launched Apparel last year to kind of tell a bigger story about how we support people who travel and stuff. So Nomatic's been a fun ride. Yeah, nice. We're 11 years in and it started out with just me and my cousin, my business partner, and now we're up to about 32 employees.
Nice.
Wow. Started with wallets, right?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep. Just a little small minimalist pull tab wallet.
You still got it?
Still got it.
Nice.
This isn't the OG, but we've made variations on it. But
our CTO Jordan still has his.
Does he?
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, we launched this on Kickstarter actually in 2014. Just like a pull tab wallet that you pull the tab out and it ejects your cards. And then it's got a little pocket on the back for cash, coins, or a key or something.
I like that.
Anyway, it was just a side hustle. It wasn't supposed to turn into Nomatic. It was just like, let's launch something and see what happens. We had a goal to raise $10,000 on Kickstarter, ended up raising $170,000.
Wow.
And it was a super profitable product.
The Kickstart days.
This is like the glory days of Facebook ads, right?
Yeah.
So we launched, and in that first week, like friends and family, we'd backed about $5,000 worth of funding. And we're like, we might hit our goal. Like we were pacing that. And then we met someone that knew Facebook ads and he taught us. And then we went from like 5,000 in the first couple of weeks to 5,000 a day. We just started cranking. It was like, oh my gosh, like Facebook's a little bit of a unlock here.
Yeah.
And so we really focused heavily on Facebook ads for the next 10 years. I guess we're still running ads.
Yeah,
so.
for sure. That's so cool. What's been, this is just kind of like a random question that just, you've been around for 11 years. What has been the best piece of advice you've been given as you've been an entrepreneur running your own business? Kind of on the spot.
Yeah, from just like anyone.
Anyone.
Like just any piece of advice.
A kid, a mentor, best piece of advice.
That's a really good question. I think the best piece of advice we got in the early days was like, I think you start a company, you realize how many cash constraints there are around like growing. And the best piece of advice was just like the concept of Kickstarter, like using Kickstarter as a platform and as a business model for us. It literally is the only reason we're in business today. Like it helped us scale the business from 0 to about 15 million in revenue without any outside funding.
Yeah.
So you get your customer base up front, you get to prove the product out to make sure people actually want it. You can make changes to that product because the customers are saying, why didn't you launch this with waterproof zippers? And you're like, oh, dude, I didn't think about that.
Sure.
You make that change on the fly, and then the product they're getting actually has waterproof zippers.
Sure.
So it's what they really wanted. And so you're able to adapt the product. You're able to prove out that price point, get your customers up front. But then the biggest part, obviously, the cash. Like you get the cash before you even manufacture the product.
Totally.
That's a game changer in terms of a business model. Like you don't have to go raise money. You don't have to take debt.
Yeah.
So me and my business partner from like in the first 5 years of the business, we grew up from like about 0 to 15 million. We hadn't taken any outside funding or any debt.
Nice.
Raised almost $15 million through Kickstarter.
Yeah. That's such a cool, underrated piece of advice because like, I know we've launched products before where like you have an idea like, hey, I think these things are going to sell. And before you know it, like if you've got 10 SKUs, 2 of them are the only ones that end up selling. And then you have these other 8 SKUs with however much inventory that you have to like try to, either discount or maybe you're giving them away for free as gifts to influencers or customers or whatever. And so the Kickstarter, I've been actually surprised with how little Kickstarter is used nowadays. Do you guys still use it when you launch new products?
Only if the product is new, unique, and innovative. Like
Okay.
if it's just like a new colorway or a new version of a bag we've already launched, we don't use it.
Okay.
But like when we launched our apparel collection, we dropped it on Kickstarter first.
Nice.
It's becoming less and less of a platform we're using like day to day just because we have revenue outside of Kickstarter that's generating cash flow.
You have profits.
But there are companies that continue to crush on Kickstarter and they're still raising crazy amounts of funding up front.
Yeah.
So it's a great channel. I don't have any problem with it at this point. It's more just like Facebook used to drive a lot of the Kickstarter success for us.
Sure.
It's not like it was going viral all the time or something. It was more just us spending dollars to make dollars, but the dollars would just go further on Kickstarter.
Sure.
Anyway, so that it's still a platform we'll use into the future.
Nice.
We're working on a couple collections right now that I could see us putting on Kickstarter.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. What was the product so you started in wallets?
Yeah, wallet was the first. Then we launched a notebook. And we launched a watch, actually. And at the time, we were thinking, let's make an everyday carry brand. This is just stuff you'll carry with you every day. Sure. But then we researched it more and more and found that like travel bags did well on Kickstarter. We launched that first travel bag. And typically our campaigns, we were doing like 170,000 or 300,000. With the travel bag campaign, we raised $3 million in 60 days.
Crazy.
So I was like, all right, we're a bag company now.
Yeah.
Like forget wallets and notebooks. Let's focus on bags. So that's kind of where that transition happened. At the same time, we actually shifted.
That was the travel backpack?
Yeah, it was a travel bag, like a duffel.
Okay.
It wasn't that backpack that's our best seller. It was more of like a duffel bag that also had backpack straps on it.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was like the exact size of carry-on dimensions. So it looked like just a black box, really. Like we never designed a bag before. This was us just like messing around in Adobe Illustrator trying to figure out how to design a bag.
Yeah.
So So that product was fun, like a fun first attempt at a bag. But yeah, I think the biggest takeaway from that was like bags are a higher price point, right? A $20 wallet, you have to sell tens of thousands of those to make the same that you would have to sell a $300 travel bag for, right? So we were making a lot more money selling travel bags, and we shifted from Basics Products was the name of our company when we launched that wallet and notebook. And we got a bunch of cease and desist letters because everyone has like a Basics line.
Yeah.
So Amazon and Conair and all these other like random brands have like their Basics.
Yeah.
And so we were getting like cease and desist letters like, you can't launch a Basics notebook. We own that. You can't launch this. And all of a sudden we're like, dude, we're not going to be able to exist as Basics.
Yeah.
So that's when we switched our name to Nomatic. We launched the travel bag and the new name at the same time. And
nice. Anything ever like serious happen from the cease and desists?
No, I mean, it was just scare tactic stuff. I mean, as a young entrepreneur, when you only have like 1 or 2 employees, you're like, dude, we're done. Like, this business is over.
Yeah. A friend of mine and myself, we launched a company called Asher Golf, and we got a cease and desist from the Masters because we created like they're like the most on top of it organization imaginable. We were an absolute nobody, probably making like $500 a day. And we created this, that we just called it the Masters Collection. There was no like t-shirt or golf glove or
green
anything.
And everything.
But because we titled it the Masters Collection, I mean, it was within probably an hour of me launching the collection. We had a cease and desist from him like instantaneously. And I was like terrified. I could not even believe what had just happened.
Yeah.
But so luckily all we had to do was
also in the golf world, that's like the one brand you don't want to.
Yeah, they own a trademark to everything.
Yeah.
Like every single thing. You can't say
it's just such a storied brand too.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to
very legacy.
Get on the wrong side of the Masters.
Yeah, that's funny. Well, that's cool. Okay, so backpacks, which probably was like less margin.
Funny enough, I actually owned the planner.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you?
Nice.
Not anymore, but I had a planner.
You bought it? Nice.
Back in 2015.
Yeah, that would have been when we launched it.
16, I had the planner.
You were the Kickstarter backer?
Well, I got back from Argentina and I needed a planner. That was the best one.
Nice. That's cool. So
now I've got the bags. Got the sling and the carry-on. So,
nice, dude.
So really quick, when you go up to the big size, and we've been in the bag space, so we know obviously the margins are better. You're selling a bigger product, but
the profit margins are better.
Yeah, the profit margins are better, but it also comes with just less, right? Like you're not dealing with, like you said, like you don't have to sell thousands of wallets. Like you can sell hundreds of bags. So you advance into this more premium space. How did your content strategy change going from the basics to the premium space?
Dude, we were just so scrappy. Like it was literally me and my cousin with cameras trying to like take pictures for social media. Like if you scroll all the way back in our feed, it's almost just like embarrassing. Like there's one picture where he was posting like a collage of himself with like shaving his beard from like, like the different phases of shaving it, where it was like, at first it was a beard and then it was a goatee and then it was a mustache. And like, that was like one of our posts for our company. And I look back and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, why did we even post this? And it was just us doing whatever we could to just like make content. And, you're holding a wallet up in the sky with like the Eiffel Tower in the background and you take a picture. And it's like, it's just like stupid content now that I look back on it. So there was really no strategy. Like when you ask what was our strategy, like there wasn't a strategy. It was more just trying to figure out how to exist on social media, how to exist as a company. It wasn't until we had launched like 2 different bags or 3 different bags that all of a sudden it was like, okay, we're more of a travel brand now. And we started kind of like leaning into that, where it was premium travel, like the quality. We were getting feedback from our customers. The number one word people use is quality when they describe Nomatic products. So it's like, all right, we're a quality premium brand for travel. And so that kind of just started to get defined over time. It wasn't something where we sat down in a conference room and like, we're going to stand for premium quality travel bags. It was like, let's make the best products we possibly can. And I think we were more meticulous than most people are about our products. We go through like 10, 20 different prototypes until we were like, it's ready. And if it wasn't ready, we would just throw it out and be like, it's not good enough yet. Let's start over. And so we weren't afraid to we weren't making products to try to just grow revenue as fast as possible. It was like, no, let's make the best backpack we possibly can.
Yeah. I like that.
The interesting thing about your guys' progression is if you start off with Kickstarter, you're upfronting product market fit, right? So like you're able to, theoretically you could get to product market fit faster. So do you think the Kickstart route also helped you once you got to the premium goods because you already had this kind of mentality or this muscle memory of iterating a product really fast, right? To make sure it fit what the consumer wanted, even off of feedback before they got the product, right?
Yeah.
So was that muscle memory good for you to say, okay, like if it's not good enough, it's not good enough. Like we're good. We just want the best quote product that's going to be the most wanted, right? Because we always say product market fit is often the most important factor for just marketing. Like it's a lot easier to market something that people want.
Yep.
That has product market fit for an audience than it is for something that people like may or may not want or they feel lukewarm about.
Yeah. No, it's a really good question. I had a couple thoughts while you were talking. I think the first one was Kickstarter forced us to have that muscle memory, but it also forced us to think about our customers in a different way. So we would actually send surveys to these customers like very often where we would say, what product should we make next? And then when they give us feedback, we'd dial into that and say, you said you wanted us to make functional travel apparel. What does that look like? Like, okay, you're saying a jacket, like how hot do you want this jacket to be? How cold do you want it to be? What features are important to you? And so we would actually survey our customers until we got to data points where it's like, people are telling us they want this and people would be most likely to buy this, to the point where we're even showing them our renderings and mock-ups to say, which style do you like best?
Yeah.
Like that, we would go down those paths to say, let's create something with our customers. And that's what Kickstarter really helped us do. But I would say there's kind of two parts to this, the product side, because you can only go so far with that, where you get a product where you say, okay, I think most people are going to want to buy this product or it's going to fit the market really well. But there's this piece where when they get it in the wild and they start testing it and using it, all of a sudden they have all this additional feedback or you miss the mark on something and it could be like pretty detrimental.
Or some of the features they think they want end up just being a nusuance.
Yeah, gimmicky features. It's like, I thought I wanted a key leash, but I don't really care anymore. I never use it or whatever, right? So yeah, there's pieces to it that we've had to adapt over the years. So we've come out with, V2s, V3s of our products because after it's out there in the wild, people are coming back and saying, or we actually survey them and say, how often do you use the waist straps that we include with every bag? Or how often are you using this thing? And once we get the data, then we can say, dude, everyone thought they wanted this, but they're not using it. Let's dial it in even more, simplify it.
Man, the waist straps.
Yeah. You know what's cool?
I never use them.
Exactly.
I used to use them. I used to be a rollerblader when I was in middle school. And I had like a rollerblade backpack.
Once a rollerblader, always a rollerblader.
That's true. And I had my Senate backpack and I'd put my blades on the back. And when I did that, I would put my waist straps because they were heavy and it just felt cool. So I would use them. But
a blader, huh?
Of course, bro.
You were in the skater crowd?
Well, I started skateboarding once the rollerblader. I switched when I got into high school and I skateboarded in high school. Okay. But were you a fruit booter?
No, I was a skateboarder.
There's a rivalry between them. Yeah. So this is something that's interesting that we talk about, or you've said a couple things that have kind of piqued my interest, which is we talk about how challenging it is to pivot or to own a specific market. And when I say own it, and I don't necessarily mean own it like you're the biggest person out there, but like where you're maybe doing well in a specific market. So for example, you're in wallets and you're doing really, really well. And then you enter into the backpack realm, which is sure there's some like correlation potentially to that, but they are two very different products. You see a lot of brands who will do this. They will try to maybe Like a menswear brand, for example, tries to go into women's wear and it fails miserably. Or what's another one? Like a kids pajamas company, it launches a women's diaper bag and it doesn't work out, right? Like there's these, how have you guys been able to navigate waters like that? You went from wallets to bags and now you're in this bag space and you're just jumped into apparel. Like, how has that gone for you guys? Obviously the bag side worked really well. What made you guys decide to go into apparel?
And also that seems like a natural evolution because you're so small at that point.
I agree. I agree with that.
But now you've been established as a bag company.
The bag to apparel though, how's that been?
Yeah. Maybe I'll give you two different examples of this because I think it's interesting to note, like bags to apparel, it seems like a big jump. And I think it was a big jump. It is a big jump for us still because you market them in completely different ways.
Totally.
To get people to trust you around apparel, I will say that's probably more on the side of the product where once they get our apparel, they use it, then they become like evangelists because they're like, dude, like Nomatic actually nailed it. Like I thought they were just trying to do apparel, but it's like now that I actually wear this jacket, like every single day, I'm like, I'm gonna always buy Nomatic apparel, right? So you kind of have this. The product proves itself. It's like the example you gave of the company that's Rompers that launches a diaper bag or whatever, right? Like if they don't nail that diaper bag, that product has no chance of success because the leap itself is a big step. Yeah. But then if you don't nail the product, there's no chance it survives. If you nail the product, even if that's a big leap, it just takes longer and it takes more time to convince people that you are as good as you say you are, right? Yeah. And that's how it's been in apparel because like our feedback has been amazing. Like people absolutely love it. I think we nailed the first 4 items that we launched. We're launching another 5 items at the end of this year. Yeah. And we're working really hard to make sure that we nail those products. Yeah. But I will say like apparel has been slower growth than I had hoped, right? Like it's I think in the last year it did like $1 million for us, which is just a very small portion of our total revenues, but it's like it was a step in the right direction where it's like, all right, next year maybe we land Dillard's, and the next year maybe it's we launch these other styles or we do a collab with someone and it takes off. So I wouldn't. Are your
bags in wholesale?
Yeah,
they are.
Yeah, they are. And I want to get to that in 1 second. I want to finish this thought on this other piece of just the product being the right fit because we launched a product with Peter McKinnon, the videographer, YouTuber, and we had never done camera bags before. So to the average like camera person that carries cameras, they care about their bags. They care about what's protecting their gear because they're carrying around $5,000 setups or whatever, right?
Totally.
So it's like, all right, this is an important gear to me. I need the bag to perform. So for Nomatic to make a camera bag without a trusted source like Peter McKinnon, we would have probably seen something similar to apparel where it's just like slow growth
for sure
until we can prove it out. But because we had like one of the biggest faces in the industry coming out and saying, I made this camera bag with Nomatic and it's the best camera bag you'll ever have in your life. Then all of a sudden overnight it was like a success because people believed it from the beginning and they bought into the product once they got it because it really was some of the best camera bags they've ever used. So I think there's two pieces to that. Anyway, just wanted to wrap up that thought.
Can I ask a question though? Yeah. Before we jump, how is the Peter McKinnon collab? Have you guys done that with anybody else when you've launched into a new market? For example, did you do that with apparel?
We didn't do it with apparel. Okay. We had some influencers post about it, but we didn't do like collections that were built around these people. It was more just like, hey, can you give us a shout out? Yeah. We felt like the market fit was good enough where we were literally building apparel for people that already buy our bags. So it wasn't like we needed permission to exist in that space.
Got it. So when you launched the apparel, it was maybe long term, it was about, hey, anybody should be wearing us. But in the short term, it was like, hey, everyone who's bought our bags, how many bags did you guys sold at the time? Like, you guys have a running total?
I wish. That would be an amazing number to throw out right now.
But you probably have a ton, right?
We should
bags. We should be able to get 5 to 20% of our customers who are using our bags to buy our apparel. That was kind of the initial thought.
Yeah. Well, and you look at brands like Built and Cuts and, Roan or Lululemon. Like these brands are $1 billion brands or $100 million brands that have built a company literally just around apparel.
Yeah.
So for us, it was like, if we can nail it, this could double, triple, quadruple our business over the long term. And so if you look at apparel as if it's its own product category, like year one, we did $1 million. Year two, we do 2.
Yeah.
Year 3 is at 4 million. Like if we're able to double that year over year, whatever, pretty soon, when you fast forward 10 years, apparel could be a $30 to $100 million product line for us. You know?
For sure.
So I think for us, we're taking it a little bit slower on the apparel side. It's also just so many SKUs.
Yeah, I was going to say is how different it is with a bag,
The number of...
It's a nightmare when you
we went from 15 total bags.
Yeah, exactly. We went from like 150
SKUs.
or something with all of our bags and accessories combined to like, I think we're at like 2,000 or something now. It's like
crazy.
Dude, that was like 1 year.
Yeah, what are your sizes? Like small to double XL?
Well, just for the joggers it is. But when you get into pants, we have waist sizes, inseam lengths, fit. So we have like...
colors.
Fit and colors. Like, you have a slim fit and a classic. You just doubled your SKUs right there. It's like, oh man.
Yeah.
Exhausting.
What are your thoughts?
What I always think about though with what you just did is the bag space. The bag space is hard because people don't need bags that often.
Yeah.
Right.
So we
it's really good from a first customer acquisition standpoint.
Yeah.
This
is a good point.
It's harder.
Lifetime value sucks.
Yeah. Lifetime value is not great because like, for example, I got my Nomatic carry-on 5 years ago.
Exactly.
Like I don't need another carry-on.
Maybe you would need a second for your wife, maybe.
Or you buy a suitcase to pair it with or something, right? So we have luggage, we have other things like that.
But I think a lot of people are probably like me, right? Where you probably get a carry-on. It's like, hey, this carry-on's amazing.
Yeah.
Like it's like war-proof. So I don't need a carry-on. Like maybe if I travel more, I might want to upgrade. But I'm not like a big airplane travel guy. It's like usually business. So that's all I need. But yeah, lifetime value sucks.
Yeah.
But then so it's kind of like, I equate it to like restaurants. Like the bag space is closer to like a unique restaurant experience, right? It's like a high-end restaurant where apparel's fast food. Like your margins in the fast food industry are not great, right? But the scalability is great.
Yeah, and that's what we saw.
And so the margins aren't necessarily bad with apparel, but it's a whole different ballgame, right? Like
totally.
Well, they definitely
it's more
are
the
bad
consistency,
compared to bags, probably, huh?
It's the consistency of the experience that people are looking for, but it takes time to build. But once it builds, you can hit exponential growth.
This episode of The Unstoppable Marketer is brought to you by BFF Creative. Let's be real, hiring designers and video editors can get super expensive. And that's why I'm excited about what BFF Creative has done. They've built a subscription design service that gives you the feel of an in-house creative team, but at a fraction of the cost, which I'm sure we all could use right now. From ad creatives to social media posts, video edits to full website designs, BFF gives you unlimited designs and unlimited requests starting at just $1,000 a month. The best part about this, their custom app makes it super easy to submit projects, give feedback, review work, and store all of your creative in one place. As a listener of the podcast, you get 25% off your first 2 months with code Unstoppable25. That means unlimited creative for as little as $750 a month. Go check them out right now at bffcreative.co.
Yeah. Yeah. So we launched our apparel and people were buying like 1 or 2 items and then they will come back and buy 7 items.
Sure.
And you're like, whoa, like it was a different buying cycle, right? With the bags, it was like one time, 5 years, you don't see them again. And maybe like, I think it was like a 1.2, like they'd come back 0.2% of the time.
Sure.
Or whatever. Mm-hmm. And buy a packing cube or a toiletry bag, something to go with the bag.
Yeah.
But when we launched apparel, it was like they buy 1 t-shirt, 1 pair of pants, something like that. And then 2 weeks later, they're back and they bought every color of pant, every color of t-shirt, and they drop $700. And you're like, okay. Like, they caught the vision.
Within like 60 days, right?
Yeah. Because they try it on. They're like, no, this is legit. Like I'm going to go back and buy it. Or you can market to them faster too. Like you can send an email about apparel every week. Where bags, it's like, okay, you've hit me 15 times about buying a bag. I already have a bag. Like I'm going to unsubscribe, right? But like apparel, it's always top of mind. It's like, I need a new t-shirt. And they just dropped this new color. Like it's a quick $50 purchase or whatever, you know?
Yeah. Well, the bags are oftentimes like need spaces versus want spaces too. Whereas apparel is, even though it is a need, it becomes more of a want because people buy it like, oh, they just dropped a new colorway.
Well,
what I will say
part of that though, can I just add to what makes apparel harder is it's a lot easier to showcase the uniqueness of a bag in ads than it is apparel.
For sure.
Because apparel, all your focus, like it's really hard because it's like, oh, hey, it looks good. It's comfortable.
Yeah, because that shirt, my shirt, like from a distance, am I wearing Nomatic? For sure, very
so
very hard.
It's hard. It's kind of like jewelry to visually demonstrate. Where with like a Nomatic bag, you could do everything from like throwing it off a building to like rolling it next to a car to like how much stuff. Like there's just so many more
packing it
content ideas to show like how awesome it is.
Yeah.
Where with clothes, it's usually like, okay, unless you're doing something that's like, this is the most durable pant in the world.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It's hard to showcase.
We did find that actually where when you rank like how much revenue we've done by product that we launched with apparel, our jacket, for example, is like the number one. And it's because it's got like, it folds into a pillow for travel.
Yeah.
And it's got these perforated armpit holes that like let it breathe. And it's like, so you have actual features you can point to, where a t-shirt, it's like, trust me, it's really soft.
This t-shirt is great.
It's so comfy.
You know, it's so funny. People, there's this kind. I mean,
but again, once you sell, and we always say, sorry to cut you off again, but I just want to say, the thing about apparel though is if you can change your mindset, and I do want to ask you about the mindset, is because the mindset's very differently from like a marketing perspective, an ad dollar perspective for bags, than it's going to be for apparel. Because apparel, like you said, if the more you sell, the more you sell. Right. So like you kind of have to adjust like what your expectations are of CPAs and ROIs based off of the product, because an apparel, it's harder to showcase, but once people wear it, it's like, oh, they come back in 60 days.
As long as it's good. Right.
Mm-hmm.
As long as it nails.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, I need to totally reconsider what like my perception is of ad strategy.
Yeah, I agree. I was also going to say that the thing about bags too, like as we were playing this, like not devil's advocate. I don't even know what I'm.
Well, just like the
here.
difference.
Yeah, the difference is like
showcase.
What is nice though about like bags that even though they like you don't have a good LTV, oftentimes in the bag space or a high quality product that you don't need to continue to buy over and over again, your biggest sales like acquisition channel becomes your customers. Because they're like, they're like, hey, like, for example, how many people have told about Nomatic? Like probably dozens.
Yeah.
Now,
well, even with my wife on our anniversary trip, I was like, we don't travel enough, but like I need to get you one of these.
Yeah. Like that's the beauty of it. So yes, that person doesn't come back and buy for themselves over and over again. But oftentimes these high quality, good products that you don't need for a long time. Like we see we have golf bag companies that we work with, and we see it all the time in that space.
I was going to say, when we were using Bessie for post purchase or whatever, I think word of mouth was our number one.
Oh, I guarantee it was.
Yeah,
for sure, top two.
Yeah,
for the bags.
For bags.
Yeah. What are your thoughts? You'd mentioned Cuts and Built, and did you just hear that Stephen Borelli is stepping down?
No.
Of Cuts.
Yeah. He just announced
it. Yesterday that he announced it?
Yeah. That's the founder.
What does
of Cuts.
that mean? He's just not.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Well, this is my
We can speculate.
Yeah. Well, what's been so interesting is he's been the kind of like face and leader, and he's been trying to create content like crazy, and he's talking about it. We met him last year in LA at an event. So I'm like way stunned by it. To me, it feels like he was maybe pushed out personally, because he's been so gung-ho.
His post did not seem very
happy.
Like relieved, or how do you say it? Like, hey, this has been awesome.
When you're stepping down, you're either you're getting pushed out, or you're going out for mental health reasons. But if it's mental health, then it's like they usually make a call to that, where they're like, I need to take a break for a little while.
Yeah.
See,
I don't think, but maybe he is going through something, or maybe he's not.
Let me look it up. We got to look it up now.
But you do have in the apparel space, you just have a lot of competition. I just think the apparel space, like sometimes we tell brands that we work with, it's better that you start now than if you had started 4 years ago, because you just have like the expectations of like 2017, 16, 15 Facebook ads like a lot of companies like that mind shift, like even from bags to apparel, like there is a mind shift change that it's like, hey, we got to strategize differently for different kinds of products. Like it's not all the same.
Yeah.
Like, yes, you have a blended cash flow, whatever for your company, but like they're totally different sales cycles, lifetime values, you know, retention rates. But apparel, again, it's harder to demonstrate, but you can, if you just keep hitting people like a true classic tees.
Yeah.
And if you can find a way to demonstrate, because like true classic tees like broke the code of demonstration.
Right. They figured out how to like showcase the feature of their
Of like,
a basic t-shirt.
Just
this
the
makes
fit.
you look skinny.
Yeah.
Based on fit. Yeah.
Right. So like they crack that code and then they just jack spend.
Yeah. The whole, like, we don't need to.
And I'm
go
sure
into
people bought, like you said, I'm sure people tried one and then they're like, oh, I need 7 of these.
Yeah.
I think that I know you and me have even talked about this a lot. Like we talk about how benefits sell over features, but like in the ad game, that's not always true. Like
Well, it depends
calling
on,
out
it
the
depends on
features
the,
of stuff
the product.
is huge,
Yeah, we pushed
Yeah.
features the first
Yeah.
8 years of our business. That's like literally the only thing we pushed.
especially in bags, right? Like
Yeah.
super easy to
We
demonstrate.
have a few brands that it's like, it's all about the brand
Mm-hmm.
because it's like kind of like movements and like, but we always push in the ad game. It's like, you're always going to have evergreen products that work better, usually because they show better. So they just show better. So you can sell them better. You can angle them and position them. Or sometimes like, again, like with clothes, like we've seen a lot of clothes crush it, but sometimes it's harder to scale at certain kinds of efficiency rates because it's like, well, there's a million people in this space, right? Like you said, there's Lululemon, there's Roan, there's Cuts,
Built,
there's Built, there's
Fiore, yeah.
Fiore now. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
you name it. But if you can just be like, accept it and figure out whatever the operational margins need to be, like you can be there too. Like you said, like, yes, it's only this part of your business, but the more you sell, the more you're selling.
Yeah.
Very cool. What's your favorite thing you guys are doing right now at Nomatic? Like what are you jazzed about right now?
Oh man, this is right along the lines with what we already talked about, but we're actually developing a line of bags for women right now.
Oh, cool.
So the big question on everybody's mind, can Nomatic transition from men's to women's?
Dude,
and
this is my favorite discussion.
But hold
make
on.
it work?
Would you? Well, first of all, I want to back up because I don't think you guys ever said you were a men's brand before.
Well, we're not. Yeah, I guess when you look at our demographic, like,
But I'm sure the demographics
you
are,
look at the email
but
list or
you're not,
whatever,
like, yeah.
it's like it ends up being 80 or 90% men.
Yeah.
And we build our bags for a frame that is bigger. So it's like there are women who use our bags.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so you like when you're building the width of a backpack,
We're actually building around a male build.
average male build. Okay.
Uh-huh. But some women, it works for them and they love it. But when you ask a woman, like if I were to take a Nomatic bag and walk around at a trade show and say, what do you think of this for you? They'd say it's too boxy, or they'd say
A woman would.
A woman would.
Yeah.
It's too masculine.
Even the colorways probably too.
Black.
Yeah.
Black,
Yeah.
olive.
Yep. Black, olive, and navy.
Steel,
Right.
Yeah.
I love the olive though.
Great color.
So anyway, we have been working on women's bags for like 3 years now.
Really?
Like really, this
3 years?
This is a fun story. I'm going to tell it because we're in this setting. This is fun. We started working on women's bags. We hired a woman designer out of New York who had worked for like Tory Burch and Coach and like high-end designer bag brands. Because we're like, we want to nail this. We want to make sure it was designed by a woman for women and that it does really well. So we get these prototypes back. They're like, imagine like high-end bag brands like Louis Vuitton or something meets function, right? So we add like cool features to them. These bags were awesome. But we held multiple focus groups with women once we got these bags, and every single one of them was like, this is not Nomatic. Like, just felt so off for them to see a leather bag that was like,
Women were saying this.
women were telling us like, this doesn't feel right. Like, it's not what I imagine a Nomatic bag for women to look like. Because women are very particular about the brands they carry.
Totally.
And so for them
Yes, they
to
are.
want to come in and be like, oh, I really want to own a Nomatic designer looking
Right.
bag
Yeah.
just doesn't make sense. They'd way rather have a brand name that they actually
Totally
care about.
Yeah.
So we were like, kind of hit a wall there, and we're like, what are we going to do? Meanwhile, some like crackhead breaks into our office, steals all of our prototypes. Like he gets into our office, he climbs on the roof, waits till everyone leaves.
Whoa.
And then he sneaks back down this ladder and came into our office like after hours. He lined all this stuff
footage
up.
of this?
No, we don't. But we have like it was very clear like the door was broken open and stuff. Like he like actually like broke the door open. So we knew we'd been robbed because like all our camera gear got stolen.
Oh.
He didn't touch a single laptop. Like he was very particular about what he took. It was just stuff that like I'm pretty sure he just wanted to flip it on KSL or whatever. Anyway, long story short, like he literally took all our women's bags thinking these are like high-end nice bags, right?
Yeah.
So when he stole them, we were just like, all right, we're starting over. So like we literally just like threw out those designs.
It was the permission you needed to get rid of your sunk cost bias.
Exactly. We're like, well, let's just start over. And we did. And I'm so excited with where we landed.
How long of a process was that though before?
That was probably, I don't know. We'd probably been working on it for about a year at that point.
I asked that because I think a lot of business owners would say, let's just make it work.
Yeah.
Totally.
Right.
We put all this time into it. Yeah.
Instead of just being like, it's not right.
Yeah. I think that's what
takes a lot of guts. I think a lot of people don't do that enough.
The fear of getting it wrong for us is way bigger than the fear of like, look what we've invested into this. Like we want to make sure that when women use these bags, that it's like, they'll tell every single woman about it because like I found the new like best bag for women's for travel specifically. So we were focusing on a line built around travel. We've done a ton of focus groups and try to just pull all of the learnings we've found from them.
Have you guys hired a research firm to do focus groups, or do you guys hold those internally?
A little both, actually. So we do the in-person ones ourselves.
Okay.
And then we do like just straight data surveys. So we'll have like I actually don't know the name of the company, but it's a brand. It's a guy that's worked with like Traeger and other brands where they'll do like consumer research studies to say like, what would you be willing to spend for something like this? Or when you're looking for a bag, what do you consider? Or what items do you carry in your purse? Like, so we'll do pretty extensive survey with thousands and thousands of people to get to the data. And then we'll do our own internal surveys once we have like the general data to actually ask people in person. I think we held 4 focus groups with 5 different women in each group. And we would just have them bring their own purses, have them bring stuff to pack out.
Did you guys go as far down as doing like in-depth interviews, like one-on-one?
It kind of became that within the focus group because once they would express a strong opinion about something, we'd end up like drilling in with that person, having them specifically pack it out their way, asking them specific questions about it. It wasn't like just us and them in a room, though. We never got to that point. But the focus groups would be like 2 hours long sometimes, and we're getting very specific with each person to say, what things do you love particular? There is a lot of groupthink that sometimes happens in these.
Yeah.
And so
sometimes you gotta, but if you have a good moderator.
Yeah. We do it, the moderating, but also the way we survey, like we have like all of them answer a survey up front about specific questions we want to know, trying to eliminate the bias of the group. And then we go deeper with them in conversation afterwards. So after they've kind of submitted the survey to say, here are the different things I like or don't like about these, then they can start talking with other women about them. And then everyone's not jumping on the same thing like, oh yeah, that's true. I do hate that, and then, so lots of learnings there. It's taken us a while to like dial that process in, but we've done it enough now that I think they're pretty efficient, the focus groups we run.
That's really interesting because a lot of times we talk about how you can move fast and mess up when it comes to content and ads. Like people are too worried about making the wrong move with an ad because it's like, oh, it needs to be on brand.
It's going to hurt my brand.
It's going to do this. It's like, well, you don't need to worry about that because, it's if it works, then it's working and then it's not hurting your brand. If it doesn't work, guess what? Like people are going to forget about this tomorrow. Like no one cares. Yeah. But I think it's the opposite approach with product.
For sure.
Right? Like you don't want to just throw product at the wall.
Maybe in the first stage, right? Like they did with like a wallet and a, like,
well,
let's just get something out the door.
I don't even think that would be considered throwing it at the wall because it was a Kickstarter. So they got the feedback.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Right. And the validation before it became a brand.
Fair enough.
But a lot of people will, they'll stretch certain product launches just because they're getting, quote, desperate or feeling desperate, even though they might not actually be desperate from a business standpoint.
Right. Yeah.
Like, oh, let's just hurry and do a new product.
Yeah.
It's getting hard in this space. Let's move over to this space. But they don't spend, 3 years for a product launch is a long time, right? And maybe it doesn't need to be 3 years all the time, but
it doesn't. And our timeline's usually 18 months. Yeah. That's like a very normal cycle for us to say from like idea to like finished golden sample or even to like production. Sometimes we can pull it off in an 18-month window.
Nice.
I would say 2 years is like when we're really trying hard to nail it. 3 and 4 years is like we're getting into an entirely new industry here, and if we don't nail this, you
lose all respect and trust immediately.
Yeah.
Like, how long was the Peter McKinnon bag?
That was 18 months.
18 months.
Went to lunch with him. 18 months later, we launched it on Kickstarter.
Are you guys talking about launching with any creators for this women's stuff?
Big ones.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this, actually. This is where I focused most of my time and attention over the last couple months is lining up big influencers and brands to do a limited edition bags with them.
So smart.
So when we go to launch, we're going to have 5 different influencers or maybe 4 or 5 different influencers that are posting on their channels to each have millions of followers. And we're going to host a big event in like California, Texas, Utah, and New York. We're going to throw big influencer events when we launch these where all the women coming are getting decked out with all the brands that are participating plus all the bags that we're launching. We're going to go all in on this strategy and just try to, like that day when we launch, I want like every woman to see it in their feed at some point.
Yeah.
It's just like.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So do the influencers have their own collab bag too, or is that just the brands?
Both.
Sweet.
Yeah, if they're big enough, we're actually designing custom bags for them.
So smart.
And they'll have their name on it inside or their colorway or whatever.
Yeah.
And we'll do like an initial run with them. And then if it crushes and they sell out, we can order more or we'll have, I think, 4 different bags in the collection when we launch. So they can jump to a different bag if they want to.
Very cool. That was what we used to be on the brand side with a company called Fawn Design here locally in Utah. And that's when we would launch a new bag. We would oftentimes do it with a creator and it was always super awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Very cool. I like that. What are your thoughts on are you guys using AI to help out with any of your product development right now?
Let's see, AI. So there's only like 3 or 4 places that we're really using it in the business. Number 1 is Sidekick, which I'm sure you've heard of. It's just plug an app. You can get data from Shopify really quickly to just ask any questions we have.
Yep.
Pretty useful. Another one we're using locally is Particle.
Yeah.
And just anytime we create a new product, we're looking at the data of all our competitors to say what colorways are moving the best for them, what bags are doing the best, or what apparel items are moving the best. And we build a lot of our strategy around that, actually. So I would say that's probably the biggest one is using data from Particle. And that's not AI. I don't know how much AI they're using. So maybe that's not a great answer for your question, but we use that a lot.
But we use Particle combined with some AI to do some analysis. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, that's been very useful. Other places, for me personally, it should become like a brainstorming tool. So like for this women's line, brainstorming names or brainstorming different ways to position it.
Yeah.
I find myself just riffing back and forth with it. Just try to like develop the marketing campaigns and the story around it and stuff.
Do you use it as a personal therapist?
Not yet.
Just getting there. You do?
I don't know if it would be therapist, but like you said, it's just like a place to jot down ideas.
Yeah.
Like I like using it to jot ideas down because I never write in my journal. So it's a way for me to just throw some ideas out there.
Yeah.
And then, you get the feedback on those ideas.
I've been doing the same thing. I've been doing that for the last 6 months.
So it's remind me of this.
So I create content and I'll write all of my scripts out personally. And I've been like throwing out ideas of like brands that I like. And anytime like a brand does something cool, I will plug in like my thought into Chat GPT on how I'm feeling about like what Nomatic's doing when they're launching this women's bag and, you know, whatever. And this week I started to just like ask it to create my scripts now for me based off of the memory I've given it. And it's like been wild.
Do you find that it remembers the memories really well?
Yes.
For some reason, mine, it updates and then like 5 days later, it forgets not forgets, but like I'll specifically give it a prompt like, don't use emojis anymore or whatever. And like literally 5 days later, it's throwing emojis back. And I'm like, you didn't listen to what I said. Like how, I need like a crash course on like, here's how you update the back end of.
I'm using just Chat GPT.
Yeah.
So there's a few ways you can do it, but I would just create your own agent. And so what you would do is like, first you categorize all this stuff, right? And then you just basically say, hey, I'm going to create an agent based off of this information you now know. Give me like the best agent prompt. And then you stick that in the agent prompt. And so then it'll remember in the agent. And so every time you can just start new conversations with the agent, but it'll remember all those things. But yeah, if you're just like doing conversations, it has a hard time remembering, or it starts like hallucinating based off of like however long your conversation is, it'll start like hallucinating things together.
Yeah.
It's really weird, huh? It's almost like it's so close, but sometimes it'll say somewhere I'm like, dude, now I can't trust what we've been talking about because you forgot something very specific I told you not to forget, you know?
Yeah.
That's always frustrating.
Just like treat it like it's your friend with like severe ADD. Like, wait, what? What are you talking about right now?
Remember? Talked about this yesterday.
Oh yeah, we did.
Oh yeah. That's
so, right. Yeah, I would say do that. But no, I think AI is interesting. We use it all the time. It's super helpful in some things. It's not very helpful in other things, but it'll be weird to see where it goes. That's for sure. You know, like
I was listening to something today that was saying it's going to take like 5 to 10 years or whatever to like make a difference. I'm like, I guess for me, I'm probably one of the early adopters, right? I'm not like super into AI, but you can still ask like my brother or sister and they probably haven't even touched it yet.
Sure.
So
most people are just still using Google.
Right.
But now Google did you see what Google's doing? They're going to AI mode.
Oh, are they?
Really?
Yeah. So not to pat my back, but I called this 3 months ago. So I'm like, why would Google not just swap their search bar for like an AI engine? Like you're going to lose quote money. Like I know the compute power and the cost, right? But like you don't want to lose, like you don't want to lose your edge.
You don't want to lose
Google,
users.
because people are going to. You don't want people to say Chat GPT that.
Yeah.
You want people to continue just to say Google that.
Yeah. Very true.
So I was like, they're gonna switch it eventually. Like, and I don't know how. It's like a freemium version of Gemini, but you'll see it in your search. Like,
so this is different than the Gemini thing that's been popping up every time you search. This is like you can opt to say
you just type in
want
go to AI mode.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think that AI is going to put a lot of businesses out of business of the people who are just mediocre at it, because they're not going to, because people are going to find that that mediocre service that someone was offering, they can just get from Chat GPT. So
and software is interesting.
Interesting.
I just wonder, like,
I think product-based businesses like yours are really in like a really good spot, obviously, because they're physical goods that people need. You know, our world. I think a lot
of software goes to zero, though.
Oh, for sure it does. Well, we have a CTO of our agency. He literally just built we have a post-purchase survey, but he just built a quiz side of it. So like it's a pre-purchase surveys now to quiz like, hey, what bag's right for you? You've seen apps like that.
Yeah.
With like a product recommendation engine and all that.
Yep.
He just built an app with the user interface that is
3 days
beautiful within like 36 hours.
Wow.
Well, it's on a weekend. So he's not like we're sitting there working all day.
Yeah.
It's
like, I'm going to
I built this over the weekend, guys. I think we should test it out with like a few people. And I'm like, sweet, let's throw it on.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So yeah, it's super cool.
I also think people have to reimagine. I think where AI is going, and this is my hot take with AI, I think we all have to reimagine what a website is.
Okay.
That's my hot take.
Meaning what?
I mean, literally, I think we have to reimagine what websites are and how they work. For example, Gen Z and younger use voice all the time, right? Like you have young developers that are only talking to Chat GPT, right?
Yeah.
Kids are growing up talking to iPads, talking to technology. Like voice to text is a huge thing now, right? Like we're kind of in the older generation where like I use it a lot, but it still feels like a little weird.
Yeah.
To be like talking to my, like sitting there in my office, like talking,
Yeah.
you know, instead of just like typing it.
Yeah.
But the younger generations are talking. So that's just a good example of like like people's interaction with technology is going to shift very dramatically over the next 5 to 10 years. So I think websites and how people imagine and interact with the website is going to change dramatically. So I don't know if that's going to be some kind of combination of video and voice. I don't know if it's going to be a combination of, you know, more of a lucid type experience that kind of evolves based off of how you're interacting with it. I'm not saying I know exactly where it's going. I just know that the way people are interacting already is evolving with technology.
Yeah.
So, but websites are built off of how people interacted with technology 15 years ago.
Yeah.
So AI is going to enable the evolution of how a website is, right? So a good example of that is I've always said, hey, 60 years ago, if you went into an office store, a salesman approaches you, right? And you don't always use the salesman, but oftentimes like, oh yeah, did you have this? Like that's usually if I go into like for example, I needed some loafers.
Home Depot or whatever.
Yeah, well, let's just talk clothes, like apparel. I needed some loafers. I was in New York. I was going to the ballet, and I didn't have any like nice shoes. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go get some black loafers. I like the loafer style. Went to the mall. Went into, I think it was Boss. Was the first store that I saw, and I like saw they had shoes out, and I went in. Guy comes out. I'm like, hey, do you guys have? I don't see any. Do you guys have any loafers? Yeah, they're upstairs. Okay, cool. Guy comes, approaches me. What are you looking for? Loafers. Okay, what size do you need? 9. But it's all voice, right? Like that's a more natural way of interacting with people, which is why I think a lot of the younger generation is using voice to technology. But that's how it always worked, right? And then if you would continue to go to the same store, what would happen 60 years ago? They'd know your name.
Yeah.
Hey, are you still looking for this? What are you looking for today? So the interaction in a physical store is very different than our interactions with like a website. Like a website is very like manual, you know, like yes, it's intuitive, but at the same time, like it's a little different, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not as fluid of an experience as it might be with a store when you're just like, hey, where's that?
Right.
Oh, thanks. Guide me to what I want.
Right.
So I think as we think about websites, I think that's how it's going to evolve with AI, is because it'll enable that in a very fluid, natural way that right now you can't really get. Like maybe quizzes can give it to you, right? Like we've talked about, like quizzes can help guide the experience. But I think conversion rate optimization is going to do some quantum leaps over the next 5 years.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think
Rant over.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, in 3 to 6 months from now, you'll be like, I told you I was right.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean,
6
even the
years,
way we
maybe.
consume content, right, is going to be so different too.
Yeah.
Right. Like I think eventually AI is going to start to dominate the content market that we're all going to start to say,
Your content's going to be different.
do I look at this the same way? You know, like,
Talking about this with my family this weekend, it's such an interesting concept of like, you've been seeing this what I always forget. It's not a Yeti. It's a Sasquatch.
Sasquatch. Yeah.
Is it like that fake AI like Sasquatch that's like vlogging, right?
Yep.
This is like such an interesting concept. The fact that like someone can create an identity
Yeah.
that you follow and you want to watch the next video, but it's literally all just like, made up.
Yeah.
Like it's
It's just a
character.
14-year-old.
Yeah.
voice prompting.
Is it a 14-year-old?
No, but like that's the joke,
knows?
right?
Yeah.
It's like
Who's behind it? Do we know?
I'm sure it's probably like a 16-year-old. Maybe it's
Yeah. The thing I was thinking this weekend is like, if everything you're consuming is like fake, what is that going to do for like real, like person to person interactions, and how is it going to change our world?
Bad?
I was thinking it was going to be the opposite.
Well, I think what happens. No, I mean, yes. What you two are saying two different things.
Oh, okay.
What you're saying is when everything becomes fake, it's going to be bad for society. What you're saying is it's
bad
going
for
to
the majority.
Yes,
in person.
What you're saying is in person will become more important.
Yes.
Right? Did I
Yes.
get that? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you're going to
For sure.
have, it's going to be weird, man. Like you're going to have like all human content. So like I actually think in the future, Instagram, you'll have like an AI option and like a non-AI option, or you're going to have some way to use cryptography to ensure that like the videos being uploaded on a social medium are actually people, right? Like there's going to be like a premium for having only real people content versus AI generated content.
Yeah. I think you're.
That's what I think.
I think you're in the right ballpark.
Well, based off of my experience, because I was thinking about this in New York, right? Because like New York is built around, obviously you have the financial sector, right? But then like the Broadway and the entertainment sector, like you have the sports team, you know, you got like the Knicks and the Yankees, some storied big teams. And then you've got all these experiences. It's like, well, why do people go to New York, right? Like you can watch all that stuff.
Yeah, they go exactly for those things.
There's a premium to go see a Broadway in person, right? Like it's a very different experience to go to a Broadway than it is to just watch a movie, for example. It's a very different experience. Like my wife, you know, she was a ballerina and, you know, she did that in college. And so she's always wanted to go back there to the Met Opera house and see a ballet. And that's what we did. And, you know, I'm in this beautiful building. It's like, okay, well, AI can't really
replicate that,
replace this yet. I mean, you know, there's going to be a Matrix option in the next 20 years with Neuralink, but there's still a premium of getting human experiences.
Yeah.
So I think that will only amplify when you have so much content, because right, like the cost of content will go to zero.
Yeah. Yeah, because time, right? It won't even take time to create it anymore.
Just hop on VO and give me a 7-second video of Sasquatch holding a GoPro camera running away from a West Virginia man with a deep Southern accent.
It's getting wild. Yeah, there is that whole concept too, where it's like the content we consume via like streaming platforms will change dramatically, where you literally just like, I've got 30 minutes before bed, I want to watch an action movie with, you know, with myself as the lead, you know, character, and I want him to drive a whatever Corvette, and I want it to, whatever it is, right? So you can play out this scenario, and then all of a sudden you're watching content as if it's like, and it could be generated in the moment, and you could actually just see an episode of something that you just thought of off the top of your head. But the thing that's, the AI, man, in your feeds right now with social, like as you're scrolling, how often are you seeing AI come into your feeds?
Well, there's two different ways I'm seeing it. You're seeing it as the commodity. So I think the commodity
well, hold on. Are we considering the algorithm to be AI?
No, he's meaning the visual.
I know, but I'm just saying like AI is controlling it.
But
a little bit already, but
I think you have a commodity piece, which is the like Bible characters who are vlogging. It's the Sasquatch. Like that eventually I think is going to become something that people aren't going to like. That's just the stuff that like, oh my gosh, look what they just did.
These are the equivalent of TikTok trends.
Look what you just did with this, right? So I think there's a novelty side. I'm seeing that.
But can I add something? That's also because the Uncanny Valley still exists.
The what?
The Uncanny Valley.
What does that mean?
The Uncanny Valley is it's like a psychological term to like when you see something that's very human-like but not quite human-like, that's the Uncanny Valley. It's like, like I see that.
Yeah.
I know it's not really human.
Legit, yeah.
Like it doesn't really fit like a robot.
Yeah.
Like it kind of gives you the willies.
Yeah.
That's the Uncanny Valley. So it still exists. Like it's really good, But like you see it and it's like it's kind of computer animated, like it's not super real. But
it's
once
almost too perfect,
or just like just off. Oh, the voice is off, or like there's certain things that are off that are obviously not real. Yeah, that's the Uncanny Valley.
Have you watched the Sasquatch?
I have, but it's still there.
So in your,
you can tell with the angle of the camera, the clarity of the video, the way it's talking, like you can tell it's quote fake and AI generated, but it's gotten so good that people are willing to forgo the Uncanny Valley now. But soon the Uncanny Valley won't exist. Yeah. It'll be so real.
Yeah.
So like what I'm saying that because what you're saying is that we have these trends, but the Uncanny Valley is still there.
Yeah.
They're just trends and they're fun. They're like little like party tricks.
Yeah.
And so I agree with you. Yes, they come, they go. It's just like, oh, that's way crazy. That's crazy. And then it kind of leaves.
Yeah.
But soon what happens when there is no Uncanny Valley?
You have to have, it's what you said, you're going to have some kind of cryptography to say this is real or this is not. Otherwise, no one can believe anything they see anymore, ever moving forward, right?
Yeah. But see, I think the average person won't care.
They won't care if it's true or not?
No.
What if it's our president saying something or...
Well, yes. When I talk about news, I'm talking about like, yes, but I'm talking about just like what they consume on their phones. I think the average person, the same way as so many people don't care if something's made in China or not, because it's like, oh, it's cheaper here. Okay, cool. It's the same thing. I think the same thing's going to happen with content. I think the average person is going to say, I don't care if a person made this or not, if I like it.
I think for a season.
But I think
that will be the case personally.
But I think it's going to turn into a high class, low class thing. Like going to New York, for example, like that's a higher cost activity. So to be involved in the human club will be premium. But a lot of people won't care. They'll just be like, as long as it's entertaining, I don't care.
Yeah. When are you launching your women's line?
Wild to think about all that.
Let's talk more dystopian futures. I like it.
we can start an entire
John's getting stressed out.
I cut it there because I'm like, we could probably talk for another like hour and a half.
Yeah, that's true. And it's all the same speculation that every other human is making at the very same moment.
Sure. When is your women's bag line launch?
So we've got it on the calendar in spring, summer of next year.
Cool.
But knowing us, probably end up being summer, fall next year.
So when you said 3 years, are you including, or is that,
we
the fourth
took
year?
A significant break after everything got stolen. So when you're talking like actual development time, it's probably like 2.5 years that it will take.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Very cool.
Yeah. Cause we took like a 6-month break where we were just like, product's gone. Like, let's rethink how we're going to make this and make sure we do it right.
What's your biggest advice to people with developing product? Is it spend more time getting it right? Or
not necessarily.
Build it with the customers? Because like you have these processes that we love. Like we love when people take the time to do a focus group. Like almost no one takes the time.
Most people don't.
Like a lot of people will be like, oh, I talked to some friends about it and they said they'd love it. It's like, yeah, of course they said they'd love it because they think they're getting it for free. You know, it's way different than saying like, would you pay $400, $300, $200 for it?
Yeah. Yeah, that is a big indicator. Like when we did our focus group for our apparel, we literally had people in the apparel focus group saying, I will buy this prototype jacket from you right now for $200. Like that's how much they wanted that jacket.
Yeah.
We're like, sorry, it's the only one. Like we can't. But that was very good feedback, and that gave us confidence going into it. So it's what you're saying. Proving it out with the audience, I think, is a big one. So when you say, should they spend a lot of time? I can't say that they should if let's say you're launching a new t-shirt brand with unique AI designs or something, right? So like you should just throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks at that point. I don't think you need to like take months and months and months refining your design and making it perfect. But if you're making a premium product or you're making something that's going to have to be extremely functional or game changing in an industry, then yeah, you probably need to spend more time than you think on it, getting it right. But I would say I probably fall in the court of like analysis paralysis more than my business partner. My business partner is always like, let's go, like it's ready. And I'm always the one that's like, we're not there yet. And so that dichotomy has been really good for us. Yeah, it's been good because I'm always holding us back and he's always trying to push us forward as fast as we can. And we end up somewhere in the middle, which is probably where we should be.
Super smart. That's awesome.
We always advocate for that for business partners.
Yeah, we are very yin and yang.
It's pretty hard to plan for it, but when you get it right, like I think I just got lucky, but I think if you are interviewing like a business partner or trying to find someone, finding someone that has differing opinions than you and different way of looking at things, different skill sets is an important part of having a good partnership for sure.
Agreed.
Same value. Yeah, our
values.
Trevor talks about it all the time. It's like you have to have the same values,
Yeah.
but then you have to have like very different perspectives.
Yeah. If your value and goal,
Vision and values.
match,
All right.
then it doesn't matter it doesn't really matter about anything else. Like those are the two things.
I started writing a book on this actually.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was highlighting is like you align your mission, vision, and values kind of thing, and then the rest of the stuff like you can figure that out.
How you get to point A versus how he gets to point A is different.
Right.
Yeah, from point A to point B doesn't really matter as long as like, hey, family is really important to me. Family is really important to you. Therefore, I already know that that's never going to get in the way of the end goal, right? Like, or the goal is never going to get in the way of this. Right?
What's really important. Yeah.
Love it, man.
Dude, this has been awesome. Thank you so much. Tell everyone where they can find Nomatic.
So, of course, nomatic.com. That's with the T, Nomatic. And yeah, we to address your earlier question, we're actually in a lot of retail locations. So we're in over, I think, 100 different Dillard's locations. We have our travel bags, luggage, stuff like that there. We don't have apparel in any of our wholesale accounts yet, but Costco's rolling out this year, which is pretty exciting.
Whoa.
Sweet. For travel bags?
Yeah, for a travel pack. So we'll be in 98 different
Congrats.
Costco's by the end of the year. And we've got, you can find us on like Costco.com and stuff like that, or Costco Next right now. And then camera stores, of course, because we sell camera bags. So I think we're in over 200 different camera locations.
Cool.
As well, so.
Dude, well, thank you so much, Jon. Appreciate it. And thanks everybody for listening. Go take a look at Nomatic,
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
All right. Thank you so much for listening to the Unstoppable Marketer podcast. Please go rate and subscribe the podcast, whether it's good or bad. We want to hear from you because we always want to make this podcast better. If you want to get in touch with me or give me any direct feedback, please go follow me and get in touch with me. I am at the Trevor Crump on both Instagram and TikTok. Thank you, and we will see you next week.
Take my word for it.
Take Mark's word for it.
One of our
guarantee.
biggest fans. We'll call you the Nomatic Fanatic.
I'm the Nomatic Fanatic.
That's your newest ambassador right there.
Love it.
All right. We'll see you later, guys.